Me and my friend, we was walking down the street, in the middle of the street, and we wasn't causing any harm to nobody. We had no weapons on us at all. We just walking, having a conversation. No cars were blowing at us or honking at us like we was holding up traffic or anything like that. Now, a police officer squad car pulled up, and when he pulled up, these was his exact words. He said, "Get the F on the sidewalk." And we told the officer we was not but a minute away from our destination, and we would shortly be out the street. We was having a conversation, and he went about his way for about 1 or 2 seconds as we continued to walk, and then he reversed his truck, his car, and in a manner to where it almost hit us, and it blocked both lanes off the way he turned his car. So he pulled up on the side of us. He tried to thrust his door open, but we were so close to it that it ricocheted off us and it bounced back to him. And I guess that, you know, got him a little upset. And at that time, he reached out the window. He didn't get out the car. He just reached his arm out the window and grabbed my friend around his neck and was trying to, as he was trying to choke my friend, and he was trying to get away, and the officer then reached out and he grabbed his arm to pull him into the car. So now it's like the officer's pulling him inside the car and he's trying to pull away. And at no time the officer said that he was going to do anything until he pulled out his weapon. His weapon was drawn and he said, "I'll shoot you," or "I'm going to shoot." And in the same moment, the first shot went off. And we looked at him. He was shot and there was blood coming from him. And we took off running. And as we took off running, I ducked and hid for my life because I was fearing for my life. And I hid by the first car that I saw. My friend, he kept running. And he told me to keep running because he feared for me too. So as he was running, the officer was trying to get out of the car. And once he got out the car, he pursued my friend, but his weapon was drawn. Now, he didn't see any weapon drawn at him or anything like that, us going for no weapon. His weapon was already drawn when he got out the car. He shot again, and once my friend felt that shot, he turned around and he put his hands in the air, and he started to get down, but the officer still approached with his weapon drawn, and he fired several more shots, and my friend died. He didn't say anything to him. He just stood over and he was shooting. By then, I was so afraid for my life, I got up and I ran.
You know how hard it was for me to get him to stay in school and graduate? You know how many black men graduate? Not many. Because you bring them down to this type of level where they feel like they don't got nothing to live for anyway.
Welcome to On the Spot. No, my name is Norman Graham. I got Richard Gray here, one of OTS newest political analysts. Our first subject is Ferguson. My brother, has been rough out there. Starting out with Michael Brown. Young man was killed out there with an incident with the police officer. He was shot six times. Once in the head.
Twice in the head.
Twice in the head, 4 in the body. We don't know how many times he was shot at. The police is not giving the official version. I don't know how they could do it, but this young man was stopped by the police officer because he was walking in the middle of the street. What is your opinion? And you might want to take it to what happened in the store.
The opinion on what happened to Mike Brown, well, I think the evidence points to a murder. That's what everybody believes, and I think the only people that don't believe it is probably the police department and the prosecutor. He murdered that boy, and for the simple fact that they didn't produce any evidence to the contrary. That to me says guilty. That's my take on it.
Okay, well, we're gonna start it from the top. That day started with Mike Brown going into the store with one of his friends, and It was an issue of some blunt cigars that was taken, and he physically grabbed up one of the people in the store. I can't say whether allegedly. I can't say, because it could be edited. I can't say what happened, because something came out today that said Mike actually paid for that. They left the store, they was walking in the street, and an altercation started with him and a police officer. One thing leads to another, and Mike is dead. I have a problem because of the distance from the car to where the young man was killed at. So I'll let you tell the story, and what do you think happened?
Well, according to the accounts of the witnesses, Mike was leaving. He had already had the altercation with the officer, and he was
in the car.
In the car.
Yes.
Whatever happened, altercation, tussle, a shot was let off inside the car.
Yes.
There was a round found inside the car. Also, he was going away, which means that he was no threat.
Exactly.
Allegedly.
But he had no firearm.
No firearm, no weapon. A lot of things in this case point to, I would say, police misconduct, because the training, I'll go back to training all the time, because we were trained in law enforcement and certain tactics, and it seems like they don't have any tactics. They just do everything off of emotion. It's emotional, because I feel he was scared. I feel fear took over him, and that's what happened. He used deadly physical force at a time when it wasn't necessary.
Is it possible?
I don't think it was necessary.
Is it possible he might have got beaten up in that car? Because deadly physical force can be matched with deadly physical force. If he had no weapons and he was walking away, there's no threat no more.
There's no threat, and
so is that a possible ego? Because
it's definitely an ego. But what they were saying, and what I say, is that the conditions in Missouri, or even in that little town they speak of, it speaks to something more systematic than just that encounter with Darren Wilson and Mike Brown. There's other things going on. There's a bigger dynamic.
Well, a police force of 57 police officers
and 3 blacks.
And 3 black. Yeah. That's a very big part of that dynamics that you're talking about?
Very big part of the dynamic. I mean, there's a disparity in the way the black people are represented, and it seems like the more they talk about it, the more they scratch away at the surface. There's things that are going on that you would understand, not really understand, but what happened with Mike Brown and Darren Wilson, you could see where it's like it's coming to a head. Well, these people have been enduring this for who knows how long.
Well, now we're going on 2 weeks that this incident went by, and you have a great deal of protests. There's 2 sets of protests that go on there. It's what go on in the daytime and what happens at nighttime. And I would love to hear your opinion on the protests and everything that go with it.
Protests are very necessary. Very necessary to bring about change, to bring attention to the situation, and whatever the cause may be. There's 2 types of protests, and I've caught flack because of my viewpoint on both types of protests. There's civil disobedience, peaceful protest, nonviolent. That's 3 kinds. But I'm of the mind that they need both. I mean, it's not just peace, and it's not just violence. It's not just, it's not just theatrics. You need more of a they need to be uncomfortable. So, as somebody else said that I heard them say. They need to be aware of the fact that basically enough is enough.
Well, between Governor Nixon, I think he's doing a very decent.
Another failure.
But Governor Nixon has been there. See,
where he hasn't been down to the protests yet.
He's been accessible. We'll use the word accessible several times a day. They picked up the it didn't work because of the person in charge of the police department kind of did some blunders there, where he put out a video of Mike Brown in the store when the people really just wanted to, can you tell us what happened?
Mm-hmm. And they put out some what you would say was
slanderous video.
Slanderous, incriminating video at the same time when they put out his name. all before they wouldn't give us his name because it was a safety concern. But
Officer Darren Williams.
Whatever they do, it seems as though they make it hard for anybody to believe anything that they say. Me personally, I don't believe anything.
Well, actually,
just from the actions that they've taken.
So you do believe that that caused a bad reaction with the community?
Definitely,
because now they turn around and the community came out stronger. They were protesting every day, but when they expected, and you said, okay, we're going to put something out, they expected to see something on what the officers say, because they're not telling you his actual statement. They're not telling you anything. So now they went from that to next thing you know, you see a video of Mike Brown in the store that made him look like a villain. Didn't tell me about what happened with the cop and what happened with Mike Brown out there on the streets, because bear in mind, the police, the head of the police department then had to turn around and say, the cop that shot Mike Brown, Darren Wilson, did not know anything about what happened in the store. So, okay.
They went far enough to say, they went as far as to say that the people in the store never called the cops.
Yes.
So what does that mean?
That meant there was no reason for you to put that out there. They never called the cops.
Exactly.
So therefore, this officer, Wilson, did not know anything. There was no reason to tell us that. Tell us what he did and how this incident started with him. Their issue is, all they know is that he was walking in the middle of the street. Is that grounds to kill a black man for walking in the middle of the street?
Definitely not. What I see and what I've been watching and what's apparent to me is that these people, meaning the government of Ferguson or whatever the township or whatever it is that they're in, they don't do anything unless they are pushed into it. The first time when they made a public statement or did anything positive in regards to the case was when Obama spoke out, if you remember.
Yes.
Then he got in contact with the governor, so on and so forth. After that, it was a lot of smoke and mirrors and a lot of playing around with the emotions of everybody. And then when Eric Holder came down, the Attorney General,
yes, U.S.,
they did something else to it. It's like an appeasement thing.
But let's start with the fact that at nighttime they couldn't control the people. So you brought in the black captain.
There you go.
You had to bring.
It's a reaction. It's like a knee-jerk reaction.
Yes, this is what they kept doing. You brought the black guy in.
If they could get away with doing nothing, I believe they would get away. They would do nothing.
Yes, you brought the black guy in to calm down the people of color. They look like you. He came in. He hugged everybody.
Yeah,
he showed a lot of love.
I didn't like that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why I liked it. Because after he did all of that, and all the people hugged with people, cried with the people, and did everything that he wanted to do, at nighttime, the whole thing was a different story. They still didn't want to hear from him. So tomorrow they turn around and let you do what you want to do again. Hug the people, walk, march. Let everybody know your son is black, he has tattoos, sometimes his pants is hanging off. He told them everything. And I'm afraid for my son. And then after he told him all that, at nighttime, here we go again. The looting, the vandalism, everything happens. And now you don't know what to do. So now they go another knee jerk, the police is out, they come out with everything but a missile. They got weapons from Afghanistan. Pointing at the people. We're going to talk about that when we come back after this break.
Yeah, that's up, man. They said he had his hands up and everything, man.
They was trying to get at him?
I don't know. I wasn't out here. I just heard the gunshot.
I heard the gunshots from Walmart. Stay all the way up there.
I knew something happened. It's too early in the day.
Who is the? Do he stay here?
No, it was his daddy right there, man. His daddy just tried to go there and they grabbed him. They in that black t-shirt police talking to him. And that's his auntie right there on the phone. And them screws. That's some loud. Yeah, boy, that's some dirt. Dirty.
I saw the car. He gone, dog.
Yeah, he gone. He gone. He
So
gone.
they stood over him and
Yeah, and shot him some more when he was on the ground. Yeah, that's what they said. Shot him some more while he was on the ground. killed dude. Police killed him, yeah. Said he had his hands up and everything. They still shot him. He fell on the ground. They stood over and shot him some more. They just got him laying in the street dead as just got him laying here. This unreal. You know ambulance, he gone. Yeah, he gone.
We're back, OTS, Richard Gray. We're coming back in with the subject of they had tanks out there. They had assault weapons, tear gas. Was this the 60s or what?
It looked like the 60s.
All you needed was the dogs and a fire hose.
I thought they had those out there too. The reaction was totally over the top, unauthorized. I mean, unnecessary. Very unnecessary. Very unnecessary, and it only added to the agitation of the people that were out there. They really were the cause of a lot of the problems out there.
Okay.
Camouflage, assault weapons, tear gas. Why?
But that actually became a big subject now, which is why does such a small city have such big military weapons? An area of 21,000, they got tanks, they got all type of stuff, surplus stuff that came from Iraq and Afghanistan.
It's a federal program. Yeah.
Yes, but was it really needed for that area?
Not at all.
So
Not
now
at all.
they got the state police. Everybody in the world came down there. The National Guard came later, but there was a great deal of looting, and this was their reasoning. The people were looting. There was different people at nighttime than the daytime. Do you agree with that?
What I think is that there was looting, but what we don't take into consideration, we're not dealing with like a city like New York or Chicago. The area that we're talking about is a very small area. So how much looting could there possibly be? I think it was sensationalized.
They were boxed in. Well, here's the question.
I don't think it was like a whole like city burning. It was a little thing, not really little, but I mean.
Vandalized stores. But now if it was your store, you don't really want to hear that.
They overplayed it to bring in tanks and all of that.
Okay, but
really?
I agree with that. But
a few quick months got burned down, so they bring in a MRAP or whatever they call it.
Here's what happened. The press became part of the story. When at nighttime, the protesters would come out there and the press got tear gas. Al Jazeera, they showed they were deliberately tear gas. They turned around and you seen the police come out there and turn their cameras facing down. So this was a deliberate attempt. AP, this guy got his head slammed in the wall at McDonald's. Washington Post, they also got arrested. So now it became a big issue. I can't think of what day that was. That it was all about the press. Even MSC, NBC, CNN started asking a question. Now, is this story about what happened to you, meaning the press, or about what happened to Mike Brown and the people of Ferguson? So this went on all day. All day it was all about, well, the press got attacked. The press got tear gas. And behind the scenes was the East Coast popular media in New York said, well, this happens to people all the time.
That helped bring some light to the subject.
A lot of light.
It brought a lot of light to it, and rightfully so. But what I see in that is that they are very comfortable doing what they've been doing. You agree?
Very.
They are very comfortable to the point where they couldn't even differentiate between mainstream media, local folks, out-of-town folks. They were just ready to do it to everybody. So they had no reservation about doing this, period. This is something that they've been practicing for a while.
Well, Mayor Noel, I think, set somewhat of that arrogant tone that the community had, because he seen, you know, somebody had the number wrong on the police force, and he said, well, we don't have X amount of blacks, we have this amount of blacks. But the
denial. He's a denier. He denied it.
But with an arrogant attitude. So now you got the governor, and the governor seemed like he wanted to be the most helpful man in the world. And again, the captain that they brought, what did you call him, Captain?
Captain Feelgood. That's what I call him. Captain, what's his name? Ron Johnson.
Yes.
State trooper.
Yes.
Good guy. He's very positive brother.
He will get promoted.
He will. Well, that's all he wants. But I respect him. I respect what he did. But I feel insulted that they would just like put a face man out there like that. I saw it. Well, this is what I see. I saw.
No, he's definitely
like
the face.
A show business move. Like, yeah, let's put somebody out there that looks like you. So
And he embraced it very well.
Well, he meant well. I don't think he did it in a sort of a fake or a phony kind of way. I believe he really genuinely felt whatever he was doing. He really wanted to do the best he could for the people. So I don't.
Well, here's what happened, and tell me if you agree or disagree. This is what happened when you deal with law enforcement people of color. They're torn between their job.
Definitely.
They know as a police officer on any given day, this could be them or their children. No matter how well you taught your boys what to do when the police stop you, on any given day it might not work out that way. So I believe he was sincere with what he's saying.
He was definitely sincere. But what does that say about the system that's in place? The government, I mean, the whole general law enforcement system, period.
Well, that was what that protest was about.
We all have that talk.
Yes.
I got boys.
Gotta
I tell
talk.
them the same. You have to have that talk. And why do we have to have that talk?
Because it's reality.
Why is it reality? This is the point.
On any given day, whether you was doing absolutely nothing, whether you was standing there talking on any given day, it's your time. And the police could come up and just do anything to you. So Mr. Lemon, for example, had a rapper up there.
Talib Kweli.
And it was kind of explosive.
Kinda.
I've done interviews before. Mr. Lemon was kind of distracted because, one, he's listening to the producers. Number two, he said, I was trying to get your name correctly so I wouldn't missay it over the air. But there was a lot going on. The rapper felt that he didn't get a handshake and a proper greeting, and that subject was heated.
The science behind that is Talib Kweli, from what I know, he's a rapper, he's an activist, he's a conscious black person, and anybody that I know that is conscious and is aware of what's going on really currently in this country as far as racism and anything else goes, they have a natural distrust
of the media.
And I saw it come out. It came out full force.
And he explained.
And I wasn't mad at him for that, but that's just what happens. And rightfully we should be. We should be distrustful of some media, not all of them. You know what I mean? But they're in bed together. To me, that's
okay. I got a question. You had a big topic with one of our friends, Scotty, Anthony Watson, and Mr. Watson.
Good friend.
Do not like what happens at nighttime, where the people from out of state starts something totally different from the daily protest.
Allegedly out of state. I don't even believe that they came from out of state. What they found was that the people from out of state was like maybe 8 or 9, and the rest was from Missouri or wherever.
No, it was actually a lot less.
It was a lot less than that.
A lot more than that.
Really, from out of state?
Yes.
All right. Well,
I
stand correct.
The issue is, I agree with what you said. What happens at nighttime, the rioting and everything else, was actually needed because we've tried peace on numerous occasions. It's never worked.
That was the basis of our discussion. He was of the mind that peacefully we could achieve the same thing.
Ask the Trayvon Martin family, what did you achieve?
Right.
Ask the Bias family, what did they achieve? There's so many cases. Okay, so I'm agreeing with you. So many times we have been nonviolent,
passive,
just set back and say we're gonna leave it into their hands. I mean, blatant stuff. Never work out.
We want to play by the rules that they set up.
Yes.
And I don't think that that's ever gonna work in our favor. You know, now voting and doing things to change these laws or whatever, if possible, is one of the ways. But they also need to know that we're serious, and a lot of times I don't think they take us seriously.
No.
Until
what happened? Yes. Until what happened now.
Molotov cocktails.
You know that. So allegedly there was gunshots going at nighttime, whatever it was. The National Guard had to come in. So you knew at the end of it, they're just not gonna follow Mr. Johnson and say, okay, peace and love, kumbaya. Mr. Johnson is here now. He can speak the language, and he got something.
That's a good thing, because if you allow yourself to be distracted, rock the sleep
is what it's called.
And you forget about what's going on, and not even forget, just allow them to take it in their hands. You're gonna find the same results. It's gonna be the same results. I don't think that they need to be allowed to, like, I don't know what the word is, but they need to really keep this in the forefront. They need to remember every day. I mean, it's no good to tear down your own neighborhood and destroy your own things, but it comes down to economy. They have to really feel it somehow. And I think economically they realize that, you know, these things that were happening, although they were bad, no looting, no robbing, that's not good, but they realize that it's costing them money, and I think that's the only thing that brought them to the realization that we have to do something. Other than that, they would have kept tanking and gunning and doing the rest of the stuff.
Before I close out, I'm going to say the past 2 nights, it seems like the crowd is getting smaller, and I'm really afraid that our people of color is getting ready to do what they do. We can't sustain a big fight for too long. Not since the Montgomery boycott has our people been able to sustain a fight. So now in April, let's see if they're going to get out there and vote, and let's see what they'll do if they can sustain this fight.
The fight will continue for the simple fact that it's not over. When they bring down this grand jury verdict, when they bring down whatever judicial decisions that they make,
20 seconds, close it out.
The people are they're gonna rise up again. They need to get what they want, or else. That's what I'm gonna say.
We'll see next week. We'll be back after a brief message.
We are peaceful. Hands up. Don't shoot. Here comes the St. Louis County Police Department, continuing to advance their line. We have now pulled back a city block and a half. There it goes. They are now firing onto the crowd. Ouch! Shit! They are firing rubber bullets.
Throw that shit back!
Fucking stop throwing stuff down!
That's right! Look at it! Hey, I got them same Roman candles! Who give a fuck?
They have now fired onto the crowd for a second time. Violence has erupted in the city of Ferguson. They are firing rubber bullets and smoke grenades. The air is thick. Now they are firing them into the neighborhoods, into the back of people's houses.
We're back. OTS. Richard Gray is in the house. Next subject. Eric Garner's rally in Staten Island is tomorrow. Al Sharpton yesterday was at the Justice Department trying to make sure this here thing don't get swept under the rug with local government here in New York. What's your opinion?
Regardless of what they say about Al Sharpton, call him Shady, Slim Shady, whatever they call him, he's all we got. Not really all we got, but I respect the fact that he keeps things in the forefront.
Yes.
We need more people like him, and what he's doing is what's necessary. They will try to let us forget. You know that.
Without a doubt.
They will always, because this is probably going to be the longest investigation. Maybe Mike Brown's investigation be longer, but they like to play the odds. They stretch it out as long as they can, little information, and we forget. So it's necessary. It's very, very necessary.
Well, yesterday the Staten Island community came out for NYPD. It was basically all whites, of course. Mm-hmm. And their issue is NYPD is getting bashed too much, and they don't like it. And they want to know that we support PD and everything else. And nobody, we as people of color, support NYPD because the reason why you're in our neighborhood is we demanded for you to be there with things that's happening. We just really want good policing, and what happened to Eric Garner doesn't sit well with the community, and because it doesn't happen to white America, they don't understand it.
They don't understand it. They'll never understand.
Whether Mike Brown, Eric Garner, or anybody else, when it continues to happen in your community, you get tired of it. So
well, the problem to me is that the communities that they police are not generally their community. That's the biggest problem that we have. The requirement of a city police officer is that what they live within the 5 boroughs.
No, that's not a requirement. Yeah, that's been proposed.
Well, they need to have people in the community, police in the community that live in the community. You're never gonna get results if somebody gets to do anything that they want and then drive away.
And drive to Westchester.
Drive to Westchester, drive wherever. You have to be a part of it. You don't respect the people in your community when you do things like that. But so you don't have any consequences. Huh?
You are for community, you have residence restriction.
Definitely.
For
NYPD.
I'd
even go further as to mandate that you have to live in the exact area. I don't know how they would do that, but that would definitely change a lot of attitudes.
The borough.
The borough, yeah. Okay, how about that?
So I don't know with
how about the neighborhood? How about Bushwick?
And that you might be pushing it too far.
I would push it, but that would be ideal. I know it's like it's not gonna happen.
So you feel that's the answer to stop what's happening at NYPD is they living in a community.
There's no connection between the police and the community. No connection at all.
Well, getting back to Sharpton and the Eric Garner family, which will be in Staten Island, they're coming in buses instead of walking across the bridge. You know that was the initial plan.
Mm-hmm.
But Tish James, the public advocate, and a few people came out and said they wasn't with it.
The march or the buses?
The walking across. The buses is okay. Well, walking across the bridge.
They cited safety concerns. You know, there's no walkway. There's actually nowhere for people to walk unless it's on the actual roadway. So it's understandable, but in light of what's at stake, they could make an exception. They could always make an exception, you know?
Well, they're saying 3,000 to 5,000 people there, which will tie up traffic if you had to organize no uses of the bridge for driving for, let's say, how long it's going to take them to get to walk this mile.
They do it for the marathon. What is that?
But that requires more preparation, and again, you know, there's notice of how things is going to be done. Switching that, Staten Island Chambers of Commerce put out something yesterday, stating that basically they made it seem like it could be a problem. So a lot of businesses is going to close. Is that a way of trying to warn the people that, you know, the people of color can't be controlled, a la look at Ferguson?
I don't think so. Well, they got a genuine interest in maintaining their business, and you never know what's going to happen. So, you know, it's safe to say that anything could happen. But as a business owner, I understand, and their concerns are noted. But, you know, to think that black people don't know how to do anything but throw bottles and yell and do things of that nature, that's wrong. And if that's the presumption that they're going off of, then they're wrong. They can't just assume that we're animals. Well,
we're going to switch pages. We're going to look forward to getting back to the Eric Garner. We would like for you to like us on Facebook at Facebook/OTSnetworks.com. Please give us your opinion on everything that was spoken on, and go to Facebook and tell us what you think. Our next subject we're going to go into is ISIS. The President of the United States have had a very rough week, 2 weeks to tell you the truth, dealing with the Ferguson issue, ISIS issue. They've been criticized for being on
his whole presidency.
Yeah, that too. But the past couple of weeks of being in Marcus Vineyard on his vacation playing golf, he had a young gentleman, Jim Foley, a news reporter, that ISIS killed. And we'd love to hear what you think about ISIS and everything that's happening.
Obama's doing an outstanding job. Let me start by saying that. His policies, I mean, regardless of what the right conservative might say or anybody that disagrees with what he's doing, but he shows results, and everything that he's doing, there's results.
So what do you say to the people that said he should have should have attacked ISIS when they were in Syria, when it wasn't as strong.
I believe that we can't fight everybody's fight, and I think he believes that also. Everything is not for us to make right. You know, not that you can't help out because we are the strongest superpower out right now. We have more military might than anybody probably on the planet, but is everything for us to make right?
Well,
no, it's not.
No, I agree. I look at the ISIS issue in Iraq right now.
We just came out of 2 wars.
Yes, very expensive.
Bankrupt the country.
Yes, very. Actually, thank George Bush.
Dead soldiers, dead young people. Who wants to do anything as far as military goes? Yeah,
well, the right is blaming the president. I said the real issue was Maliki in Iraq, that had he shared power, we wouldn't have an issue. So ISIS was built on being upset at the fact that they're not sharing power with the 2 groups, the Shiites and the Sunnis.
But who put him in power?
He was elected.
Yeah,
people did.
Who
George Bush is what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
If that, I mean, you know,
he was backed by the Bush administration.
Yes.
So this is another inherited problem that Obama is solving. He's solving it.
Yes.
They actually have gotten Syria to reduce or maybe get rid of their chemical weapons, which was the main concern in the beginning, right?
Yes.
So they did it. They had Russia's help. They got help, but it's done. Whatever he sets his mind to, I see it gets done. In spite of what they might say. So I don't know. And the ISIS situation and the whole Iraq situation, they knew about it long before. Long before.
Well, ISIS is out of control. They have seized the weapons that we left in Iraq and using it against the people, and that's what the problem is. So we have to do something, because
you think so?
We might have to go back and attack them in Syria.
I think we're doing something.
We're bombing them, and it's hard to say, you know, because the police in Iraq is not doing their job. They're still poorly trained. I can't figure it out. We could train people in a few months.
Mm-hmm.
They've been trained for years now, and they still haven't gotten anything done. They still can't defend their country. And
they could defend the country, and I think it's the choice that they make. Either they go with the total Western philosophy and just embrace the West totally, or they stick to their Muslim roots and the things that the sectarian things that they believe in. So it's a choice they make. It's not that they can't, they don't want to. A lot of them are fighting alongside of ISIS because it's like, what's worse? ISIS to them is not as bad as what Nouri al-Maliki is doing to their people. So they figure, let's go with ISIS. They gotta weigh their options, and I think for some of them, ISIS is a better option. Either that or die.
Okay, Jim Foley, ISIS beheaded the man. You said you saw it.
Part of it. I couldn't watch it all. I wouldn't watch it all. It's terrorism. That is terrorism.
Yes.
That is terrorism.
They wanted the family to pay them, which was really the government, to pay them $136 million. And this is where ISIS, see, their bankroll really well.
Mm-hmm.
Between sticking up the banks and going there taking all the money, their bankroll pretty well. What do you think, before we close this segment out, what do you think is going to happen moving forward after they killed Mr. Foley?
Well, I think the airstrikes are not going to stop, which is what they're talking about. Stop the airstrikes. Pretty much what they're going to have to do is step up their military involvement. But what I heard and what I agree with, it has to be a measured response. You know?
From where?
From our standpoint. We have to do just what's necessary, because the people really have no appetite for any sort of military involvement. In the Middle East, it's not that you can't fix it, but they really have to do more. They have to do more. Well, we can't do everything.
Well,
they have to do more.
They're going to have to do something.
And where's the world community? Where's Germany? Where's Russia?
Allies?
Where's the allies? Where's NATO?
Well, right now they're sitting back and watching, but we're going to have to close this out. We didn't have enough time to finish this important segment here. We will be back next week where we can get into ISIS should be the first topic. Like us on Facebook. at Facebook/OTSnetworks.com. Now.